my career, and no one could give me an honest answer as to whether or not I'd ever be able to fire a gun properly again. My shoulder had been blown into too many pieces to count on my last undercover assignment, rendering me virtually useless in the eyes of the law. I'd barely gotten feeling back in the injured limb, let alone full mobility. I was never exactly thrilled to see the stoic sheriff, but encountering him when I was beaten down and as close to giving up on everything in my life as I'd ever been, well, this was pretty much my own private version of hell on earth. And the very handsome devil was now staring in my direction. As the young mother continued to gawk at the tall man in the black cowboy hat and tan uniform, I narrowed my eyes and leaned heavily on the cane in my hand. My shoulder hadn't been the only part of my body that was nearly destroyed in the ambush down by the border. In fact, it was nearly a miracle I was still walking, talking, and breathing. None of the doctors who'd fought to keep me alive after I was airlifted to a hospital in San Antonio could promise that I'd ever be able to function like I used to again. None of them knew how stubborn and determined I could be. However, Rodie didn't seem to be shocked at all that I was making my way on my own two unsteady feet. "Where's Webb?" My younger brother had been harassing me for months to come stay with him in Wyoming at the sprawling ranch where he worked. He insisted the fresh air would do me good, and the wide-open space would be the perfect place to figure out my next step in life. I'd scared him big time when this last assignment went so bad, and he wasn't about to let me forget it. He also wasn't going to let me forget that I'd gone from being a highly decorated soldier to being a highly decorated DEA agent. I'd always lived a life with no ties and no guarantees, and now I was at a total loss as to what to do with myself. Honestly, I was confused as to who I was supposed to be without my badge and a dangerous mission to complete. He was supposed to come pick me up. Webb had to know that the last person I wanted to make the 2-hour drive out to the ranch with was the man currently standing in front of me. I'd mentioned to both Webb and his pretty girlfriend that something about the sheriff of Sheridan rubbed me the wrong way. He said he was caught up with one of the tours on the ranch, and Tin is out tracking a missing hiker. One broad shoulder lifted and felt totally unbothered. Tin radioed in and asked me to come pick you up. Gotta keep up with the serve part of protect and serve. One corner of his mouth lifted, and I narrowed my eyes to hide the fact that his lopsided grin made my heart thud heavily in my bruised and healing chest. None of the brothers could come and get me. The ranch my brother called home was owned and operated by the Warner family. The brothers were lifelong Wyoming residents and true blue cowboys. The family was great. I was endlessly appreciative of how they'd all taken Webb in and made him part of the family, especially since our childhood had been garbage and traumatic as hell for both of us. No one deserved a sense of security and a place to belong more than Webb. His girlfriend, Tennyson McKenna, was also from the area around Sheridan, and she seemed just as tough as the terrain. She was my brother's perfect match, and the only person I trusted to love him the way he deserved. She wasn't going anywhere, no matter how the world tried to challenge them, and that was what my brother needed more than anything. What can I say? Everyone was busy, so you're stuck with me. The grin on Rodie's ruggedly handsome face widened, and something sparked in his emerald gaze. My instincts were honed to a fine edge from years of working undercover in some of the most dangerous places in the world, and the hair on the back of my neck lifted as something about Rodie's easy willingness to play chauffeur didn't sit quite right. Every alarm bell I possessed was ringing loud enough to drown out the rest of the sounds around us. I could have arranged for a car service. I'm sure you're busy keeping the people of Sheridan safe. I couldn't keep the bite of sarcasm out of my tone. Sheridan was a small town in middle-of-nowhere Wyoming. I knew that Rodie had been a recon Marine in his former life, but I didn't know how he ended up keeping the peace in a place you had to look pretty hard to find. The big man had clearly taken a step down from what he was capable of.